So this is going to be my unbiased review of the new Milwaukee Fuel cordless ratchets. As you can see here, I have the old one. This is the 3/8. This one served me well. I did have to replace it with a new one because the actual clutch mechanism inside the head failed, and you could hit the paddle, and this basically the anvil would just stay stationary, wouldn't spin. So hopefully I don't have that same issue with these two. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I paid full price for these with my own money, primarily because I use them pretty much daily, and I knew they were going to come out. I basically waited till the release date to order them, just because I was excited, and everything I own aside from a few snap-on cordless tools are Milwaukee. So to me, Milwaukee's the best, especially when it comes to catering toward mechanics and technicians. They're now producing tools that are way beyond what other manufacturers are doing. I think Harbor Freight has their own line of, similar technician tools, impact guns, ratchets, stuff like that. But I think everyone else is pretty much, falling behind. As far as these two go, I definitely think they're well worth the money. I have both just because if you're doing a big project and you're going to have a lot of like 8 or 10 mil fasteners, I like having the 1/4" drive just because you can leave a socket on there for that 8 or 10 mil, go around and zip them off and just kind of leave it there. And then this thing, you can crack up to, bolts that are 1/2 inch, that you're using like a, I don't really come across stuff very often where I need to use above like a 3/4 inch or a 19 mil socket on 3/8 drive tools. So I haven't come across anything that I couldn't crack loose. They say that just using this tool, like obviously, you can activate it with the trigger, break stuff loose, but sometimes it doesn't always, break it loose. You have to break it loose manually. They say manually it can withstand 175 foot-pounds of torque, which, I can believe it, and you'll definitely run across stuff sometimes, up to that magnitude of torque just because it's seized, because it's rusted or old or whatever. But, if someone was looking into buying these, I think if you're just looking for something to keep in your shop, you're probably not going to use it daily. This is fine, and you can get them for pretty cheap now. I'm pretty sure this is $80 tool only, and it's still fine. 35 foot-pounds is more than enough. It got me by for like 2 years, I want to say. I used one of these, the non-fuel version, but now obviously I use these primarily. The 3/8 version, it is a lot bigger, as you can see, but I haven't run into an instance where it's been an issue. I'm sure there is moments, where this won't fit into, spaces that you need it to. I just haven't come across that yet. But if I do, I can always, use the 1/4 inch. Basically, the 1/4 inch head and the 3/8 head on the old version are practically the same size. As far as battery life goes, I know people are saying you can get like twice the battery life out of, the fuel version, and I don't know how much truth there is to that or not, because I know when I was using this daily, it didn't seem like I was charging the battery all that often, and then this one primarily I used the most, or more than the 1/4 inch. But this thing, it seems like it just eats batteries. Like I'm constantly charging batteries like a couple times a week, and this one was more like maybe once a week or longer. It would go out, or it would last that long. So when it comes to this one, I'll use the extended battery. The extended battery lasts a lot longer, and also you can stand it up, and obviously, this is probably not recommended, but if you need to get more leverage, you can put your hand right here and use it like that, which definitely not recommended, I'm sure. But you can also use the extended battery in the 1/4 inch drive as well. I'm gonna do some real world torque testing, I guess. I haven't watched too many other reviews on these, just because I want everything that I say and do, to be my own opinion and, made up testing. I don't want, it's definitely not biased. Like, I'm not being paid in any way to say anything. These tools weren't given to me. It's completely unbiased, and I want to do as, real world testing as possible. So I have some 7/16 bolts, and I believe some 5/8 bolts in a little piece of plate that I'm going to try out. I'm going to do some testing with that. And I also have this, which no one really talks about anymore. This is an air ratchet. I use this from time to time. This thing is like a hammer. I mean, it is built well. These are still, good quality. There's a lot of metal. This one not so much. I've heard of people breaking the head off the body, but this one you're not going to break this. And this one is scary. It's rated at like 100 and something foot-pounds just, with the trigger. So if you're not careful, you could probably break a finger if you weren't paying attention. And, granted, I do mobile work, so obviously it's nice to have cordless stuff. You don't have to drag around a compressor and a hose and all that. But being in the shop, sometimes I'll use this. Now, this is more like an antique to most people. Most people just want to use battery stuff. But I still like to use the air ratchet. I'm going to try to do some tests with this as well and see if those numbers that Matco provides are actually legitimate. I guess I forgot to mention this is a Matco model number MT2858. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's like 115 foot-pounds of torque or something, which is just absolutely insane. So with that being said, let's go over to the bench and try to do some torque testing. Okay, so just so everyone knows I'm telling the truth, I'm gonna go ahead and measure the different bolts that I have. I'm gonna try to use a new bolt every time I do a test, just because I'm sure there'll be some people who, say that the bolt stretches and that kind of thing, which I agree. So I have a 3/8 bolt that I'm gonna test, and I also have a 7/16 bolt. So this is a 7/16. So I'll test this with the 3/8 fuel and the Matco air ratchet, and then I'll use the 3/8 bolt with the 3/8 non-fuel ratchet and the 1/4 inch fuel ratchet to see how they stack up. So we'll go ahead and set up the 3/8 one first to see how accurate its torque numbers are. I want to say it's 33 foot-pounds. It's around 33 to 35. You'll hear a lot. So I have an impact socket on here, which you don't need with this gun. I've never broken a socket or a chrome socket yet with this, but I did break a couple chrome sockets with the air ratchet. So I only use impact sockets with the air ratchet now because that thing is just ridiculous. So I think for the first test, I'm going to go ahead and just snug it up. Once it gets tight, it has a break in here, so it'll just stop. And that's just a safety mechanism, so it obviously doesn't, strip out the mechanism inside the head. So we're going to tighten it up, then I'm going to put the torque wrench on it and loosen it and see how much torque it requires to loosen this bolt. So here we go. Okay, so see the red light flashing? So that means that the electronic brake kicked in and it cut it off because, if it tried to keep torquing it, it would obviously damage the tool. So we're gonna get the torque wrench out, and we're gonna see what it takes to loosen this off. I don't know exactly how accurate this test is. I think it would probably be more accurate to set this to like 35 foot-pounds and then see if that would take it off. But I'd like to know just what it'll torque to if you're obviously if you're tightening stuff and then we'll try, you know, to loosen it. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to 35, and we're gonna see if we can loosen. Let's see what it takes to loosen this. So get it on there, okay. Okay, so I don't know, it's saying negative 7.1 foot-pounds. I don't know what that means. I probably did that wrong. I mean, because, you know, torque wrench is mainly used to tighten, but that one reads, you know, counterclockwise and clockwise, so you would think that it would read, you know, loosening torque. I guess not. So I'm gonna just tighten this. I'm just gonna snug this up. We're gonna tighten it to 35 foot-pounds, and then we'll see if the non-fuel can back it off. So I guess we can't see what the actual tightening torque is with this test. So I can tell this is gonna be a lot. Okay, that's 35 foot-pounds. I don't think there's any way, which I think it's 33 to be honest. I should have done my research beforehand with this. But that felt really tight. One thing I will note too is sometimes if you're trying to loosen something, and I've noticed this with the, obviously this one and the fuel version, there's kind of like some slop. So you see there's some like slop between the teeth engagement. So what you can do is actually, like, I don't know how you say it, but find the slop, back it off till the end, and then squeeze the trigger. So it kind of has like a head start, like that. So yeah, that's definitely not doing it. That is not going to take it off. So I just manually did it. So that felt really tight. I'm gonna get a washer because this hole is a little bit too big for the for this bolt. So the head is kind of marring the side. So I'm gonna get a washer real quick. Okay, so I have a washer here. I'm gonna use a new bolt, and we're gonna put this on. Hopefully the washer shouldn't affect any kind of like torque numbers. But I don't have any impact sockets that are 1/4 inch drive. So I'm just gonna use, I'm gonna have to get a chrome 9/16 for the fuel. Okay, so we have the fuel ratchet here. And we're gonna see if we can take this off. Well, first, before I do that, let's torque this down again. Getting ahead of myself. Alright. Well, the wrench turned off, that's great. Okay. Honestly, like 35 foot-pounds might be too much for this bolt. 3/8 bolt, I don't know if it should go up this high. I mean, that's a lot. Okay. I'm not too confident in this one either. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's going to do it. So, like I was saying, you can find the slop and hit the trigger. Well, that one definitely tried. Oh! Just hold the bottom of it. Oh, wow. Okay, so that one just loosened it, no problem. Well, I wouldn't say no problem. It did take 2 tries. But there is a lot more torque just in the 1/4 inch fuel than the regular 3/8 non-fuel. So I'd say, you know, if you can get one of these at a decent price, I would say just go ahead and don't even mess with the 3/8 version. I'm actually surprised myself that it's, you know, that strong. So Okay, so sorry, the compressor was running. I'm gonna go ahead and torque this down to 55 foot-pounds. Let's see here. I might have to step up to a bigger torque wrench. This one goes up to 100 foot-pounds, but okay, slipped off the bolt there. But you start putting out much torque. Okay. Clearly, it's not an 11/16 socket. Yeah, the nut is. The head of the bolt is not. Okay. Okay, so that really drives me crazy. I hate when the head of the bolt and the nut are different sizes, but. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. Okay, the nut on the bottom's not spinning, but we're at 30 foot-pounds. Wow, that's... Okay, I really can't get it past 50. See that? I mean, it felt like it was gonna break or either just strip. So we're gonna try 50 foot-pounds, which is still a heck of a lot of torque on, you know, for a ratchet at least. So probably don't have to hold the nut on the bottom. But let's try the same technique. Kind of find that slop and then hit the trigger. Okay. Oh. So I did it at 50 foot-pounds. So definitely the fuel torque ratings are pretty accurate, I would say. This one could just be weak because it's old. I've definitely used this more than I have the fuel ratchets. I've been using the fuel ratchets for a couple weeks now, so they really don't have as much use. So I probably shouldn't be bashing this one as hard, but this is definitely pretty incredible. Like, this is money well spent. I mean, you definitely get what you pay for. You can't really find, I mean, Snap-on, I had their cordless ratchet. It was okay, but I basically had the same problem that I had with this one. The head actually, just the clutch mechanism inside the head stopped working. It failed, so you could just hold the anvil in place. So I would say, you know, go ahead and just buy the Milwaukee and save yourself, you know, you're gonna save yourself half the price. It's literally half of what a Snap-on ratchet costs, and clearly it's just as good, if not better. I don't have one to compare, but I guarantee you it would be really hard, just from experience, for I think the Snap-on ratchet to beat the Milwaukee. I think there would have to be something going on, because the one that I had from Snap-on was definitely nowhere near as powerful as that. I mean, it was pretty much a little bit, I could tell there was a little bit more torque than this one, but there's no way it would ever stand up to those two. I know Ingersoll Rand makes one as well. I tried it out. It's really comfortable and it's small, but I mean, again, like, I like, you know, buying tools that, you know, I can have battery, you know, I can interchange batteries and I don't have to buy multiple chargers and all that stuff. It's good just to stick with one color. So Ingersoll Rand stuff, like, you know, you're gonna have a charger for your Ingersoll Rand ratchets. Meanwhile, you know, you got your Milwaukee drill, it's got its charger, you got your DeWalt impact driver, that kind of thing. So with all that being said, excuse me, I'm gonna try one more test with the air ratchet. I'm pretty sure the air ratchet's gonna have no problem. I'm gonna get my 1/2 inch torque wrench and torque this down, just because the 3/8 feels like it's struggling. Either the bolt is about to break or the 3/8 torque wrench is like flexing, which it's rated up to 100 foot-pounds, but I really wouldn't go that high. Okay, so I've got the big torque wrench out. I'm just gonna do 75 foot-pounds. Hopefully this bolt doesn't break. I don't know if this bolt's probably not even rated to go up this high, but we'll see. Okay, we're at 55, 60, 70, oh, 74.4. Okay, 75.2 foot-pounds. So, I doubt the 3/8 fuel is going to get that. I wouldn't even try because I don't really like doing that whole finding the slop and then hitting the trigger, because I think that's just going to reduce the longevity of the tool. But, you know, in a pinch, you know, it beats busting your knuckle, that's for sure. So I got my air ratchet here. I'm going to hook it up to the air compressor. Air compressor is at 120 psi, so definitely got air. So we're going to loosen it. 75 foot-pounds. Yeah, that was like nothing. This thing is insane. Yeah, that was... I'm gonna, just for fun, I'm gonna see if I can actually break this bolt. So the air compressor might kick on because this thing uses a lot of air, but... I'm gonna show you just how much torque this thing has. Yeah, so this ratchet is just insane. I mean, this is something, if you work in like, you know, heavy equipment or heavy trucks, this thing is well worth the money, because you're probably going to be in a shop that has, you know, an air compressor, plenty of air. I did think though, I'm going to put it on the torque wrench. I'm sorry, I'm going to put the socket on the bolt with the torque wrench, and we're going to keep tightening it and see what it's torqued up to, which I probably should have done in the very beginning when I was trying to undo the bolt. But let's just see what this reads up to. Wow, this is not the best operation here, as you can see. Probably should have just welded this to the table. Oh gosh. Okay. It's pretty tight. Let's see how tight we can get this. Now, granted, the threads on this bolt are already probably stretched, so, you know, this isn't the most accurate test, but again, yeah, this thing is just twisting. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I'm at 60. Yeah. Yeah, the bolt is just completely stretched. It went up to 62 foot-pounds, but then it started going down. So, you know, that's basically, it's just spinning inside the nut. So, I mean, with that show of force, I'm pretty sure you could probably take this off, or I'm pretty sure you could tighten this to about 90 foot-pounds if you wanted to, and this would take it off, no problem. So, we tightened it. Now, we're gonna try to loosen it, which it's already stretched, so it should come loose. Yeah, that ratchet is ridiculous. Let's see if we see any carnage here. Not really. This bolt's still in pretty good shape. It's actually the washer that was starting to give. Let's see. Get a good shot of the washer. Yeah, so it was starting to just mangle that washer. I mean, you can see it's convex now. Focus. So, pretty incredible. So, I think that's it for torque testing. I hope you guys liked the video. You know, leave a comment on, you know, what you'd like to see. You know, what else I could have done. you know, your experience with the Milwaukee Ratchets. And thank you for watching the video. I appreciate your time, and come back for more. Thanks.